morning, everyone. It is a wonderful new day, and I stayed at Derrick Knob Shelter last night. The shelter was full on the bottom. I was the only one on top. The winds were like howling last night. It was unbelievable how windy it was. There was no cell service, so I can't tell you what the temperature was, but it was extremely cold and very windy. Yesterday was a hard hike. It was very, very difficult. It was nothing but, it seemed as though it was nothing but rock bed and rolling rocks and blowdowns that were huge. Many of them, I don't even know how many there were. There were several ascents that were on rock and several descents that were more than 3.5 feet from where you were to where you needed to go, which were difficult. It was muddy from all the rain that they had had. Even though yesterday was a dry day and I was very grateful for it, it was a little bit difficult for me. At the 10-mile mark, I was ready to just set up my tent anywhere I could find to set it up, even though you're not allowed to do that. It was divine intervention that helped me get to where I needed to go. That's the only thing that got me there. I didn't get there on my own steam. And I'm very grateful that that happened. And once I arrived, there were several other hikers that felt the same way. Bean, Let's Go, Couch was there, and several other hikers. They all said the same thing. So that made me feel a little bit better. But I'm going to show you what we're looking at this morning. It's really pretty. So this is how the day is starting out. And I'm about 1.5 miles ahead of everybody. I'm sure they'll catch up with me and pass me soon since I hike so slow. But it's very, very pretty today. This is where I've come from, and this is the other direction. I heard a woodpecker a while ago, a very industrious woodpecker that was just going to town. This is the way that we're heading up. Today is going to be either a 7.5 or 10.5 mile day. It just depends on how I'm feeling. Right now I'm kind of just planning on the 7.5. If I feel good at that point, I'll go the other 3 miles to the next shelter. I think the 7.5 mile mark is Double Spring Gap, and I can't remember what the one is after that. Anyway, it's a good day, and I am ready to hike. So come on, let's go. Let's go hike. We are 7.4 miles from Clingman's Dome. I am struggling with whether or not to be transparent about what goes on here, at least in the stretch and with the people that I'm with. There are a lot of drugs on trail, and people that don't know how to act properly. It is extremely disappointing. It is upsetting for me. So I'm sorry to have to report that to you, but I report the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the wonderful. Today is just not starting off to be the very best day. This kid was behind me, and he ended up passing me, but not before there was a confrontation because he thought I was taking up too much of the trail. It was kind of a single lane trail. And I let him go. I didn't say anything. But he started screaming after that, and he's been screaming for miles. I knew he was on drugs when he passed me because he was at our shelter last night and he was on drugs. He's been at the shelter I've been in the last 3 nights, and he's been on drugs. I came to a crossroads, and a section hiker happened upon me at the same time, and he looked and listened, and he said, "What is going on there?" And I told him, and he said, "Have you seen a ridge runner?" I said, "No, I haven't seen a ridge runner or a park ranger." And he said, "I want you to just hold back for a little bit and let that kid go further because you're in danger." And I said, "Okay." So we stood there and talked for a few minutes. He's a very nice man. You know, I have zero tolerance for this. There's just no reason for this to occur. And to be honest, this is stealing my joy. I'm trying for it not to, but it is. So, I've watched literally hundreds and hundreds, probably 1,000 YouTube videos on the trail. And I've only heard one person ever say there were drugs on the trail, and that was Dixie. And that you could be around it or not. I think things have changed since Dixie hiked, because I absolutely abhor drugs. But to be fair, I'm trying to be fair. If somebody wants to do drugs up here, if they want to stay in their own little area, that's okay, I guess. But these kids don't do that. They come into your space. Anyway, let's try and find the joy in the rest of the day, shall we? And give credit where credit is due for the beauty that I find myself in. We're going to need to work on that. Still a beautiful, beautiful trail this morning. I'm on a ridge. Look at that. So pretty. Awesome, awesome. This is Silas Bald Shelter, and looks like there might be a little problem here with the roof, but
I noticed that too.
Sagging a little bit, but it's a nice shelter. And they have bear hangs right over here. We walked up and somebody's backpack is hanging up there, and their hammock is hanging on the inside. So,
and I'm Indy from Maine.
That's right, and this is Indy from Maine. And that very nice man. And here comes Bean. Hey, Bean! They have a little prep station right there. They've got it's a double berth. Here's the hammock. Got a little fireplace. And the water source is down there. It's just a skip down there, and it's a very, very good water source. There you go, honey. There's another geological survey marker. I've just come from Silas Bald Shelter, 0.4 miles, and Klingman's Dome is another 4.3. That won't be until tomorrow. And this is the trail. It's been really pretty today. Okay. So we have come up to Double Spring Gap Shelter, and this has been a shorter day than yesterday. And Bean and Lesto and Indy are already here. So that's our shelter.